All right, y'all, we're going to check out this boudoir photography business and see if it has BSS for these two Google searches. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talk about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we got to get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer's simply going to click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets, 0 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So, okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing and being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our, it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that. But that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that, kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own websites and issue boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one, first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search, social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. This would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours, in the face of massive market saturation. Whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once true with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, we take those more slots on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else has got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case someone else has 2 links, well, guess what? We are, our 3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS Boudoir, I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS Boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology, started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. And now we're going to check out this. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, what we've been talking about, boudoir search sameness. All right. The first search, we always do the local search. This is boudoir photographer, Langley Township, British Columbia. So it's out east, some suburb part or whatever of BC. So we got the Google 3-pack. All right. Now we're at the Google's, the organic. So we got Klein. All right, this is who we're looking for. So we got one slot. And then let's see. All right, Klein again, but that's Langley Branding Photographer. It's not boudoir. We're not relevant to the keywords that we actually searched. So people's brain's actually going to scroll right by this, not even see it because they're searching for boudoir. And this happens like instantly in their brain. So that doesn't count. Going down, going down, going down. All right, so Klein, we got 1 out of 10 here. So that's BSS for this search, the local search. Let's go to the city level search. Now we're searching boudoir photographer Vancouver, BC. So we're still looking for Klein again. All right, we got Klein here, boudoir, all right. And that's it. We got BSS for both searches. So, as more market saturation happens, higher chance, we'll begin pushed off, that we get pushed off page one to page two of death. And even on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else, having only, 1 out of 10 links here. So again, this is the false belief of page one equality in action, which is actually the most common false belief I'm seeing among boudoir photographers. So if you're a boudoir photographer, disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness, you're seeing market saturation coming up. It's going to become more and more saturated. You know that page one equality is a false belief. You kind of didn't think about it before, but now you're like, yeah, dude, why is everyone, why is no one trying to take more slots page one? And you're seeing with the way AI is going, there's going to be taking more people's jobs, pushing more people to become boudoir photographers on top of when they get a new iPhone, they're a new boudoir photographer, or if they get a new camera, they're a new boudoir photographer. And so you're seeing the last time a lot of people lost their jobs was COVID, and a whole deluge of boudoir photographers came into the market. So you're saying, all right, that's probably going to happen again. And you want to get prepared. And you're seeing that there's also back-end benefits of this S-cubed methodology that we haven't talked about yet, but you're seeing, hey, this S-cubed methodology, you want to use this, you want to keep rolling with it because it can fight back against market saturation faster than any other solution. The only other thing would be, building like a brand, but that takes years. And you realize, and the other things on the back end of this is, if you got all these kind of bundles of keywords under your business, your brand that you're ranking for, that's a higher chance you show up in the AI search overview when you rank for all these keywords using the SQ'd methodology, and higher chance you rank for AI search as a backend benefit. ChatGPT search, whatever, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, because they look for kind of bundles of keywords around a business, themes, thematic columns. And so you're like, man, I was able to get page one on Google and page one on all these search, social search, and kind of get the back end benefits of higher probability of AI me being the only one AI overview or being included in AI search. Where the last time I used AI search to search for a boudoir photographer in a city, it gave me 3. Those are ChatGPT. It gave me 3. So a higher chance you become one of the 3 by having all the highest intent keywords focused, kind of thematically bundled as like pillars underneath your brand name. And you're also noticing that if some other boudoir photographer goes first to start using this in your area, then, well, you can't work with me anymore. So you'd have to figure it all out yourself and then equal them in work to maintain so they don't take over page one, or, most likely need to double them in work to actually make progress at getting more slots on page one that they were taking. So if you decided, okay, it's better just be the first goer and solidify your position, get the highest chance of basically being market saturation proof, busting that false belief of page one inequality, then shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. New patient intake at the hospital is currently closed. But when we do open up for a new patient intake, shoot me a DM, we'll see if you qualify, and I'll have some questions for you.